Alright, folks, this is Richey, and I know the straight red card hasn't been a regular thing these days. In fact, the show we canceled it a few years ago, and Brett and Corbett and I used to do the show regularly, but I just can't help myself at this point. So I thought I would get back on the microphone to talk about today's game, U.S. men's national team game versus Mexico. Final score 3-0. We lost. And that's actually not surprising based on now what I am now hearing. Now, let's just start with one thing. Just a basic feeling of why we probably lost this game. And it isn't because we're using all these new players who don't know how to work together and don't know Gregg's system, which, Gregg's system is getting lame at this point. It's getting old because, hey, Gregg, we're not Manchester City. We're not Barcelona. I don't know if you noticed that. The quality of players we have is pretty good. And they have strengths in other departments. But one of those departments is not trying to play like Barcelona and Manchester City against Mexico, who are arguably way better at doing that than us. So if the idea is to win a game versus an opponent, and you have to understand who that opponent is and thus make a game plan for that opponent. You utterly failed tonight. You utterly failed in every way possible. You utterly failed. This stubbornness to stick to this system regardless of who we play is utter stupidity. And the sooner you learn that and plan to play versus an opponent who's more skilled than you are, and thus probably a good idea, you might want to try some other ideas. Maybe a long ball, wide or deep to a forward. Yeah, might be something you want to consider because, there's this guy named Bob Bradley. I don't know if you remember him. We had a less talented team at the time, but we were playing in this thing called the Confederations Cup. And we beat Spain playing super defensive football on the counter attack. So here's the idea, Gregg. You play a very solid defensive setup, some very solid blocks, and then when you get the ball in an opportune position, you attack. And guess what? It worked. But if you're going to play Spain, and then you play Spain versus Spain in the same style Spain plays, you're going to lose because they're just better at that particular type of soccer than you are. Not only better than you, they're way better than you at that particular style of soccer. And here was occasion tonight. Same thing. Mexico's way better in playing in tight spaces and making short passes and working themselves out of the back 1/3 than we are. Yet you ask these guys on your team to embarrass themselves to the point where even it was really obvious the ball needed to be cleared out of the back third because the pressure was intense. Whatever you said to them led them to believe they needed to be a cool customer in that situation and just play another tappy-tap pass to someone else. Even when it was absolutely clear that was the worst idea or the worst choice in that situation, they couldn't do it because you had obviously been in their ear and told them that I don't want any clearances. Don't clear the ball out. I want to see short little dinky dink passes around until we can work ourselves out of that 1/3. Really? And it's so obvious that's what happened. But let's go to your quote after the game. Gregg Berhalter said this: from my perspective, and you guys are going to think I'm crazy, I'm happier about this game than the Gold Cup final. Well, you are fucking crazy to say that. And then he said, because in the Gold Cup final, I felt like all we did was play the ball long. And that was our solution. And now at least we try to play the way we're envisioning. That is the dumbest fucking crap I have heard in years. It's the dumbest crap I have heard since Jurgen Klinsmann. No, you don't have the single vision about the way you play when you're the United States men's national team and you are playing a more skilled team. Period. Fact. You don't have a singular approach to play. You play and you game plan based on who your opponent is. That's what you do. And you understand the skills, the current crop of players you have called up for the national team and what their abilities are. You understand what their limitations are. Oh, so no, we're just going to just ignore that? And we're going to play our style, whatever that is. We're trying to play the way we're envisioning? You don't just play the way you're envisioning against Brazil. You don't play the way you're envisioning versus Germany or Spain. And you don't do it when you're clearly haven't figured shit out versus Mexico. That's a type of game where you go, let's see if we can play the type of style where we don't allow them anything. We don't allow them to do shit. They can't do anything versus us. And then we score on a set play, a corner kick, a free kick, penalty kick, and we win. That's how you plan to win games in the future. Because guess what, Greg? You're not going to be playing the Bahamas and fucking Honduras, El Salvador every game where you can control things and play the style that you were envisioning. Those are the games you can play. The style you were envisioning. No, but when you play Mexico or you play any quality team that has the skill set that you want us to have, but we have, but not in the abundance of the opponent, that's when you game plan, dumbass. That's when you decide we're going to do something different because we want to win. And I thought you talked about earlier, yeah, we want to go in all these games to win. Well, you're not going to win playing that way. Not against Mexico. You're just playing their game, man. And they're better at it than we are. That's pretty fucking obvious. Would have been obvious to me. Would have been obvious to the average fucking layman who's been watching the game for 2 years. I've been watching it for 43 years. And this is not what I want to see. I saw progress. I know. I watched during the 90s when we were starting to fucking beat Mexico on a regular basis. When early 2000s, we were beating Mexico on a regular basis. But guess what? We weren't trying to beat them at their own game. Now, that's not what we tried. That's not what we tried to do. We didn't say, oh, we're going to play a lot of ticky-tack, play out of the back third, ball versus Mexico. Let's do that. Didn't see fucking Bob Bradley try to pull that shit off versus Mexico or Spain or anybody else who had a skill set beyond ours. You can't beat somebody at their own game when their game's better than yours. That's just fucking common sense. So where's the common sense today? I know it's just a friendly, but god damn it, that was ugly. UGLY, ugly. And I even said to friends before this game, I said, as long as it's not ugly and we don't get embarrassed, I can handle the result. I said that. I could have lived with a 1-0 loss or a 2-1 loss as long as we didn't look like total fucking garbage out there. And that's what we look like, Gregg. Hey, Gregg. You also said this. You said, I can live with the mistakes because we were being brave with the ball. No, we were being fucking stupid with the ball because you told them to be brave with the ball, which is totally obvious because no one would clear an obvious, even a really obvious situation where it called for the ball to just get that fucking ball out of here. They wouldn't do it. They just tackied it another 5 yards to someone else who wasn't open because you wanted them to be brave on the ball. Well, fuck you. That's the dumbest shit I've heard in a long time from a U.S. manager, and I've had to live through Jurgen Klinsmann. So don't even come to me with that crap. And you know what's even interesting? More interesting? You went on and said, to me, it's a great example for the guys to keep working, keep pushing, keep making progress, Berhalter said. Today I saw guys that at least continually wanted to keep playing. The fuck is that? If you can't even have your guys continually wanting to keep playing, maybe you shouldn't be the manager tomorrow. Because if that's what you're happy with, that's sad. What you should not be happy with is your incompetence at this point. Because it's really beginning to show. And I was a guy who just was supportive of you. I supported you. I said, this guy, he's smart. He's going to think about this and he's going to come up with good game plans. No, you're just overthinking it, Gregg. You're overthinking it. Way overthinking it. You need to stop with your stupid fucking system and game plan for the opponent you are about to face. And think about outside of your system, what would be another way we could win this game? And it ain't gonna be playing the same bullshit style the other team plays, but much better than we do. That's just dumb. D-U-M-B. Dumb. And then in the locker room at halftime, Aaron Long brought up the idea that, hey, Gregg, rather than to stick with what we're doing, Aaron Long said, he said, how about, we try something else, maybe some long passes to the wing, or, maybe if you bring in Sargent, well, he's tall, and we could kick some balls so he could hold the ball, and then we could just bypass the midfield and see if we could, start the attack in a more surprising manner. And no. Berhalter said, we're going to stick to the way we're playing at halftime. And Long said, and I quote, in tough moments, but that's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to learn. That is the game plan. We don't want to just abandon ship because it's not working. We've got to find solutions. There's plenty of things we could have done better to get out. We'll look at the film and we'll grow from it. Oh, come on, Aaron. You know Aaron Long, and I know that your suggestion at halftime was absolutely the right suggestion. But dumbass didn't want to hear it. He wanted you to stick to the game plan. Don't abandon ship. We've got to find solutions. Hey, you know what a solution would be? Stop playing the stupid brand of soccer you played in the first half. Because after 20 minutes, Tata totally figured it out and shut that shit down. And it wasn't going to get better. I don't care who you put in there. So Zach Steffen said, it's a process. We have our team goals. We have our style goals. That comment alone worries me. We want to play, Steffen says, and we just got to keep going. These things are going to happen. It's going to make us stronger. We're not going to give up. It's a process. Fuck this kind of talk. What is this shit? That is not how anyone should talk. This is not just a process. It's about figuring out how to defeat the opponent. And Berhalter can play versus Mexico this system, this process, for the next 20 games against Mexico. He will lose every single fucking game, home or away. Every one of them. Because he's rolling a fucking huge boulder uphill. And guess what? At the top of the hill, there's a lip. And when you roll the ball and it hits the lip, the boulder goes back down the hill. We're not going to beat anyone more skilled than us playing this system. Ever. Ever. Say what you want about Bob Bradley. Say what you want about Bruce Arena. They game planned for the opponent. And they created a game plan and system to beat the opponent, knowing what the opponent brought to the game. This was a classic example of someone so deluded about his stupid fucking system. His arrogance is unbelievable to me. This is not how you play a more skilled opponent. You do not play into his hands. Tata, you schooled Berhalter today. And Gregg, you are losing support by the second with the stupid commentary. At least you could have come out and said, you know what? Sometimes my system, depending on the opponent, isn't the best system. And even when I change formations and still play the same system, it's still not always the best idea depending on the opponent. I fucked up today. I put these players in a shitty situation. I pressured them to be brave on the ball so they wouldn't get rid of it when it was obvious the ball needed to be cleared. You, Gregg, are starting to sound a lot like Jurgen Klinsmann. Like a guy who won't take responsibility for failure. Failure. Because that was what tonight looked like. And most United States national team fans tonight were embarrassed. That was a shameful performance. And while you're at it, why don't you continue to call up Gyasi Zardes and Will Trapp and continue to start them in games that are way over their heads? Yeah. You know, when you have guys like, I don't know, Keaton Parks, you know, who plays in the MLS as well, so it's okay to call him up. He's already better than Will Trapp by a long shot. Zardes, you might as well just put Bobby Wood out there, man. Because Zardes ain't better than Bobby Wood, and Bobby Wood can't get a look at Hamburg. And he's as warm and pine, but he's better than Gyasi Zardes. You know who else is also better than Gyasi Zardes? Already? That'd be Josh Sargent. Yeah, I know he hasn't played a lot, but he's already better than Zardes. Because Zardes was crap tonight. He didn't get much service. It's not all his fault. But when he did, he was just Gyasi Zardes. Same guy we know. Serviceable MLS player. He's not the future. He's not even now. Can we give that shit up? Finally? Soon? Can you put your safety blanket away, Gregg? Come on, Gregg. You know, I had so much faith in you because you played so many years in Europe. Man, that faith, that shit's eroding. And it ain't just with me, because I actually supported your picking as the U.S. men's national team. I said, hey, give the guy a chance. He's really smart. Man, how could I have been so far so wrong?